10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Hello and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Fuel community. My name is Wack. Today is October 19th. I've got a quick episode today, but we're going to get started with the votes that are going on. I thought I'd give you all an update of where we stand. So as you know, there's two votes happening at the same time, but they're both voting for the same thing, which is how to fix the voting criteria or determine the voting criteria, which is an amendment to RPIP 4, which is one of the foundational documents of the PDAR1, like the protocol. So there's two votes going on. The difference between the two votes is one of them has what kind of was thought of as the traditional voting power, which was 10% collateral to 150% collateral as effective balance of RPL that gives voting power, and the other one was an understanding that some people had was what the voting power was or what it could be because of ambiguities in RPIP 4, and this one has people from 0% collateral, but no one has 0% collateral obviously, but from like 0.1% collateral all the way to 150% collateral. So the two votes are going on right now, and let's have a look at where we stand with the two votes. So in the last few days, the votes have definitely gotten a lot closer, and one thing that's happened is the all nodes eligible now is at 4,800 votes, and this is from all nodes voting, and then the more than 10% vote is at 4,700 votes, and they're pretty much neck and neck. I think there's like less than 200 votes between them basically, and that is 42.26% to all nodes, 41.2% to more than 10% borrowed ETH, and at this point I think that Joe has the power to swing the vote both ways, but I don't think Valdorf alone has the power to swing the both vote, because Joe kind of has more voting power. So let's have a look who's voted. So one of the things that is new today is that Thomas voted, and Thomas of course is the biggest single node operator on the protocol, but there are people who stake more ETH than him but not on a single node. So you can see here that Thomas, well, you can't actually see, it just cuts off at the screen, but Thomas here voted as 10%, more than 10% of borrowed ETH. So in the last couple of days the vote was swinging more in favor of all nodes eligible, but then Thomas kind of brought that back, and this is for the one with all nodes, and then for the vote with more than 10%, that vote is a little bit further apart. So here we have more than 10% borrowed ETH is at 4,200 votes, all nodes eligible is at 3,300 votes, so it's a good big chunk of difference in terms of votes. And here I think neither Joe nor Valdorf have the power to swing the vote individually. I guess they could both push the vote over to the over 50% for the over 10% borrowed, but they would both have to vote for all nodes eligible for that to win, provided no other big votes come in, or how the voting goes over the next I think 6 days. So again, over here, you know, there's a much bigger difference between the two votes, and with Joe and Waldorf both abstaining for now, they are planning to basically make sure that both votes are in consensus. That's their goal. So I'm not sure how that's going to end up looking by the time we get to the weekend, but as always, expect drama. So let's go to the Discord, and what happened today was, of course, Thomas's vote came in, and he voted for over 10%. It was looking like, especially in the all nodes category, that all nodes was kind of pulling away, and there've been a few like smaller voters who switched their vote from plus 10% to all nodes, and then on the more than 10% vote, that's like 1,000 vote difference. So that lead was just kind of re-established by Thomas's vote here. So there were some interesting comments that kind of came up in trading about this. So Halululo, who was the first person to say that, notice that Thomas had voted, and then Valdorf made a comment tagging Thomas, Ken, Marceau, and Dukey. And he says, it'd be really great if you could post some of your thoughts, ideally to the governance thread on the DAO forum, but anywhere would do, highlighting what you all highlighting you all specifically as the biggest more than 10% voters, which is why he tagged them. And of course I am the biggest more than 10% voter so far, and I've already kind of shared some of my ideas and thoughts in the community in a way that I guess the people Valdorf here tagged hadn't. And then Joe's post where he was talking about this, where we talked about it on Monday's episode, where he's saying the arguments for the former are almost non-existent here, and it's frankly quite disappointing to see that the strategy currently winning from a voting perspective, but its proponents are grossly underrepresented in terms of voicing their opinion here. Either these people don't participate in the forum to express their opinion, which is bad, or they are intentionally choosing to remain silent, which is worse, as it leaves us to speculate. So Val kind of was asking if people could then come in and make their votes clear. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if any of those people replied to Val yet or kind of explained their votes. But if we have a quick look at the forum, there hasn't been any posts from any of those people since then. There's still some discussion going on about the voting and like different scenarios and stuff, and a couple of other people are kind of like sharing their opinions, and the discussion is still ongoing in Discord and on the forum. So if you want to pop in and have a look at the forum, then definitely check out from the link that I shared below. But yeah, you can get an idea of what the discussion is looking like. This is one of the most active forum posts I've ever seen. It's at 63 posts already, and there's a lot of discussion going on. So pop in there if you want to see what people are saying, or if you want to talk about the way that you voted. Okay, so moving on from that, here we see that there was a 900 ETH deposit into the deposit pool by someone who's a 5 times whale, and this deposit was made because there was obviously space in the deposit pool to make that deposit. Let's have a look at what's happening on RocketScan, where we can get an idea of what deposits are looking like. So at the moment, the cumulative RETH mint is now over 670,000 or so. 669,564, which are total deposits, but of course that doesn't cover the burns that have taken place, and the deposit pool is almost full at 17,957. So it's kind of in that equilibrium where there's not really a premium, but there's a little bit of space, but not too much space as well, because it looks like it'll get full, but then the premium's not really emerging. And if you have a look at deposits for monthly for October, it's been a pretty respectable month compared to September. At least we're already at 12,000 pretty much, and we've got another 12 days of the month to go. And then September we had 18,500. It's a shame that we're not quite back at those June, July, August levels, getting like 50,000 plus every month. Hopefully we'll get there soon, but it might be a little while before we're at that point. But if you have a look at the daily numbers, then nothing quite to write home about, which is why I'm covering a 900 ETH deposit into the deposit pool today. But there's still movement happening. Sadly, RocketScan doesn't give you the number anymore of the total RETH that's minted. I keep thinking to get the number from. Let me actually just get the number. Hold on. Let's see where we stand with total TVL. Okay, and we stand at total RETH. Where is that number? It was here before. ETH locked, mini pool, RETH collateral, mini pool stake. I'm not sure. There used to be a number. Maybe I'm mistaken. Okay, I'll try to find that number out for all of you all so you can have a look at it. But yeah, still getting deposits. Growth is getting slower, but it's still happening. And let's hope we get a few more big phases in the new year with NodeSet and then with Saturn updates. Okay, so I talked about this Pancake swap pool on yesterday's episode, I think, or the day before, where there was a pool migration happening on Pancake Swap. However, it seems like a bunch of people didn't realize that they were supposed to migrate and they're still on the old pool, so they won't be receiving incentives anymore on that old pool. So please, if you're listening to this, or if you know anyone who's providing liquidity on that pool, go over to Pancake Swap and move over to the new pool, because you're missing out on a big chunk of rewards. And because not everyone has moved over, the rewards I think are around 22% at last check. It might have gone down a little bit now as people have moved over, but yeah, please don't miss out on your rewards. Go and move over, and you should get those rewards like right away after that. Okay, and then next we have this interesting perspective that Luke has been sharing recently, and this idea that he's been pushing of the potential for there being a short squeeze for people who have shorted the RPL token. So the idea that Luke has is there's a short attack on the Rocket Pool token, and that's continuing. It's heavy, and he has this idea that someone's trying to destroy Rocket Pool. It might just be people who are opportunistic, like we don't know. So he says it started with Aave and now it continues on to Binance. So Binance, of course, I covered recently, that allows you to short and long RPL, and it seems like the interest rate for on Binance for RPL borrowing to short has increased to 38%, which is actually really high. So it means that there's a lot of demand for that token. And he is making the idea that people are trying to short it. So he says it's extremely risky from their perspective to do this. On thin books like Rocket Pools on RPL tokens, they need to push down the price of RPL hard so that node operators start emotionally exiting their mini pools, which is unlikely, and the price starts death spiraling. Otherwise, they're getting massively short squeezed here sooner or later. So this is kind of like a narrative that he's been pushing, and that people are kind of debating about and thinking about. And one of the things to realize is that a lot of people who have borrowed RPL, especially through Aave, are those who are using it to run nodes. We did get some ideas of people trying to short RPL with different levels of success, and that fun time like a couple of months ago where we kind of went on the short squeeze for that one person who was shorting at that time and then ended up buying back in, I think. So this is something to kind of pay attention to, but we have to be really careful with the kind of language that we're using about short squeezes and stuff. My personal opinion is that it doesn't sound very professional, and it doesn't become what we're hoping Rocket Pool is, which is one of the most respected, well-established, long-lasting Ethereum staking protocols. And with this idea of the short squeeze, I think can kind of mar that reputation a little bit. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. But here, what's his name? Lucas has screenshots from Binance showing that the borrow rate is at 37.72% interest rate. So there's definitely something going on. Let's see if it starts to show up in price movements in the coming weeks or months, and then I'll definitely share that with you if anything happens on that front. Or according to Luke, you'll be able to see on the price chart. Okay, next we have this message from Jasper, who's saying, hey, the folks at Rage Trade are looking for testing for their new perp dex aggregator. You'll probably qualify for an airdrop for participating. He says he's totally guessing about the airdrop, but because he hasn't followed along too closely, but DM him if you're interested and he'll connect you to the relevant parties. What's really funny is that the tone of this message was quite different from the way Jasper usually writes. So people immediately started saying your account has been compromised, and Waldorf said, all right, Jasper, you have to answer some Rocket Pool security questions. Which rocket scientist public told the most embarrassing story about themselves? Patches asked, what's wrong with my hip? And Waldorf says, when and where have you seen me, Whack, in person? So yeah, that was quite funny because he was kind of answering questions back and forth, and there was just some nice jokes there. But anyway, that's everything from Rocket Fuel today. I hope you all have a lovely day. If you haven't voted in the RPIP4 thread yet, and if you are eligible to vote, please go and vote, and follow the discussion and make up your idea. And I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.